Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thank you for listening to the McJeffrey 500. It is the podcast where I count down my 500 David films, favorite films, and then make my friends watch them one movie at a time. It is December 19th, 2015. We are down to 2 podcasts for the year, and my guest on her final podcast 2015, Miss Lily. Hi.
Hold your applause, hold your applause. I know you
I'm
guys
holding
will miss
more
me.
than that.
Ew, Jeffrey.
Oh.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
What you got?
Story of my life.
What you got? What you got over there?
I didn't want to know what I have.
All right, what movie am I watching today?
You
tell
know
me
what?
now. Tell me
Jumping the gun. So, first of all, and I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, I'm kind of amazed that I actually saw this thing through and had zero issue, and a lot of it's because my co-hosts are awesome, and, everybody's been accommodating to each other when somebody needs, like, I can't do this week, and, people have been rocks, and you've been one of those rocks, and I adore you, and I thank you, and I can't wait to do more of these next year.
Yeah.
So I hope it's been fun, or at least you got to see some decent movies out of this.
Absolutely. You've definitely expanded my horizons. And I found that I hate the sound of my own voice.
It's all right. You know what? I say you have a mature voice, which works for radio. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a voice that says, "Hey, I've lived. It's time to see some movies."
So that's what it says. I've always wondered.
Yeah, well, case closed. So right now, what I've been doing, what I've done with Scott and what I've done with Paul, and Rob's will be next week's for the final one of the year, is we've been doing the year in review. So I have forced you to sit through 10 other movies prior to this one, and now we're gonna get your feelings, kind of your final words on the movies I have subjected you to. I think for the most part you've liked everything, but not everything, but most things. So we did start with the test podcast, which was never released, which was Better Off Dead, which was fun. Do I need to remind you of these movies?
Yeah, probably.
Better Off Dead, John Cusack, girlfriend dumps him. He's skiing on one ski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think there was only one movie that I didn't like out of all.
I know, and I want to.
You gonna hold that one?
No, I know what it is when it comes up. So, we did start with. We started with Bus 174. So we kind of like.
That was really intense.
Yeah, we started with the Brazilian bus hijacking documentary. It was kind of a sobering start, but a powerful film.
I was eating Brazilian nuts.
That I did.
Thank you, you asshole. First you start me out with raisins, then Brazilian nuts. You could have given me anything else.
No, because at the time we were, I'm picking foods based on the movies we were watching, and this is a documentary. There wasn't a lot of food on display, so
a lot of guns and swearing and
I could have
brutality.
had you eat some profanities and some gats.
No, that movie profoundly changed my perspective. I didn't ever think of that area in general as so hostile. Yeah.
Actually, and not to spoil too much, I think the movie we're going to see today will make for a very good bookend for this film. We then went.
Is it going to be that depressing? How fucking dare you?
You'll get a perspective.
All right.
And perspectives are good things.
Yeah.
We didn't watch. Then we watched Adaptation. Nicolas Cage as a writer with writer's block who has a twin brother. You recall this film?
I do.
Yeah, it was fun. It was different. It was original. It's a good film.
I would call it original. Yeah. I probably would never watch it again.
We're not a fan?
I thought it was well put together.
Oh, that's very, very polite of you. And here's the one you did not like. I'm going to go on record. It was a foreign film called Insomnia.
Oh, there's that one too. I forgot about that. That's not the one I was talking about. Maybe there's like 2.5 films that I didn't like.
Insomnia, which I think Lily, bless her heart, was probably fighting watching it. Wait, no. Not fighting. What's the opposite? Narcolepsy.
Yeah.
I could tell you were not totally into it, but you were engaged enough to give your opinions of the film. Now I'm kind of curious what... All right, I'm sure if we come across all like...
Oh, you'll know.
Oh, will I?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't this one, Slums of Beverly Hills. Coming of age story, Natasha Lyonne in the 70s. Her breasts developed too big, and she has a...
Talk about an awkward movie.
awkward slice of life.
No, it was really great. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but there was some awkward moments there. Just, what was it, the dancing around with the vibrator part?
That's probably the longest sustained laugh you had all year.
Yeah.
And I think that podcast has been one of the most listened to of all of them, which is interesting. But hey, thanks for the support, everybody. Then we saw Capote. I loved Capote.
Me as well.
I was like, I love it. Rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman, who sadly, he had 2 appearances this year. And Philip Seymour Hoffman nowhere to be found in 2016, which is sad because I won't have a Philip Seymour Hoffman alarm go off. But we'll see him down the line. Capote. That is actually one of the movies I watched, and I think I enjoyed even more so. And I'd have this movie probably higher if I was to make this list again.
I know. I'm glad you brought that back up because I do want to watch it again, and I want to subject other people to it. No, I say subject like it's a negative connotation.
Well, I think a lot of people
really
think that way. It's weird, whereas you want to share things with people, and a lot of people, there's people who would be totally open, and then there's people that's almost like you got to pull them kicking and screaming here, even to listen to a song. Hey, listen to a song. Oh, must I hear this song? Must I waste 2.5 minutes of my life to listen to this song that you claim is good? All right, fine. Since we're friends, I will listen to this song. And then you're like, yeah, it was a pretty good song. I'm going to share it with other people now and claim it for my own.
Sometimes I feel that way about you.
Yeah?
But most of the time I trust you.
I put a podcast around it, though. Say, hey, watch this movie and we'll talk about it.
Regardless, I would have watched it.
And that's why I adore you, and that's why you're a co-host.
I mean, come on. Mystery Theater.
Mystery Science Theater 3000, you love it. Did you hear about the Kickstarter?
Yeah, I did. You told me about it last week.
And
so that's very impressive.
We're going to watch new episodes. We're going to watch new episodes together.
Didn't Reading Rainbow had a Kickstarter too?
Yes.
How'd that work out?
It worked out exceptionally well. We will have new Reading Rainbows. I don't know if they've released them yet, but I know they are in production.
I
can fly anywhere. Take a look.
In a book. Yeah, good. It is a book.
Reading Rainbow.
It's not a nook, it's the book.
Reading Rainbow.
Actually, you know what? They might change it to take a look in your nook. Yeah, because, it's how you read now.
Or,
damn technology.
I was going to think of a word that rhymes with audacity. Because the funny thing is, a little side note, and I think I had this conversation with somebody recently. It's like, can you say you've read a book if you technically have not read the book, but you listened to the book? Because that's I find a lot of people do now. They'll listen to audiobooks and claim that they read it. And almost like they're giving themselves some false kudos. I mean, yes, you listen to the book, you know what the book's about, but you didn't read the book. You didn't sit down.
I honestly don't mind because some people are more kinesthetic, like I said before.
Good word, kinesthetic. I believe that's the name of the podcast.
All right, fine.
All right.
He's such a joke. Anyways, yeah, I mean, people learn differently. And there's a lot of lazy people out there, and I think that's most of our culture. But hey, I mean, I do empathize with those who don't actually read. I know a lot of people like that, a lot of artists like that. So, yeah, I would say that they don't think they read the book, but they at least...
But is there a shame in saying, like, oh, I don't know what the proper terminology is. I heard that book. Or just say it in a complete...
I think that really is the problem, is the terminology is so awkward when you say, I listened to it.
Like, did you read 50 Shades of Grey? I didn't read it, but I did listen to it. I listened to that book. It just sounds weird.
Yes, I mean...
Or maybe I'll just say audiobook. But it still sounds weird.
I don't think it really matters, honestly.
At the end of the day, I guess more people are quote-unquote reading, but...
But those who actually read the words are the ones that learn much more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but should we shame the ones who don't?
I don't think so. At least they're putting themselves out there. There is an effort being made from those who don't.
Yeah. Or is it just a perception? Is listening to a book really that any more different than watching a TV show? Depending, I guess at the end of the day, it always depends on the quality, right? So you can listen to a shitty audiobook, or you can listen to whatever. This tangent is over.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. We saw Duel. I should play the game like, does Lily remember the movie? Duel. Runaway diesel truck. Yeah.
I remember.
Not a fan? Not a fan of Steven Spielberg's first film?
No, let's see. Let me bring up my innermost emotions about that one. It was long. No,
It felt long. It actually wasn't long, but it felt long.
It definitely felt long. And I think that it was a successful movie because it made me feel so... I don't know how to fucking describe it, honestly. It's, it was really intense. Mm-hmm. It was an intense movie for being so short. Like you just said, that it made it feel long. There was emotions that I didn't think that I would feel, that I ended up going, whoa. I actually care about this character, and I'm actually mad for him. So it was successful. So in the end, I did like it. But did I go, hey, I would like to watch this movie again? Maybe 50-50.
Okay, so... better than adaptation. It doesn't go into the adaptation pile. It goes into the 50-50 pile. Then we watched that Beyond the Mat. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a really fun episode.
The documentary about the wrestling. He's gonna puke.
But then again, any documentary I kind of fall in love with.
Yeah. You got a fair share, though. You and Scott got the bulk of the documentary.
But I also watched a little bit of wrestling growing up, so that made it fun. Which helps.
Then you had a really long break because... I don't know why.
I had just started my job.
Oh, that's right. I think
making money.
But I don't think it was very convenient that you were off this long right when you started. So it was kind of serendipitous. But then we saw Play It Again Sam, Woody Allen, a guy who's not really good at dating.
Yeah.
It was a lightweight, fun little feature. Had rape jokes.
Yeah. I love rape jokes.
Who doesn't?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's the new name of the podcast.
I'm sorry, not sorry.
I love rape jokes. New name of the podcast.
Sorry, not sorry.
And that, that was a fun film. There's not much to speak on that one. All right.
No, there's really not much to say.
We saw Garden State. Is that Garden State?
I don't remember.
Garden State. Man, struggling actor in L.A. His mother dies. Comes back to Jersey. Really?
How do I not remember this?
Is Natalie Portman's in it?
Oh, yeah.
I guess that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
She liked it at the time.
Yeah.
Correct!
Go phone! My bad.
True Grit. Like True Grit.
Yeah.
And that's everything. What's the one you're thinking of that you didn't like?
Maybe... Was it not on a podcast and you just subjected me to it?
That's quite possible.
You know what? I think it was. Stuck.
Yeah. Stuck was actually not on a podcast. I did you didn't like Stuck?
No, I hated you for making me watch it.
Because it is a film that will be featured in 2016. You won't have to watch it.
No, I won't. I saw my list.
Yeah.
Who gets it?
I think Paul. And so that's right down Paul's alley. He'll be a Stuck enthusiast, I have a feeling.
Well, it kind of veered off real life, so it bothered me.
Well, that's not the film's fault. At least in the film, spoiler, he lives. In real life, he wasn't so lucky.
They wanted to leave you with some hope, I guess, about humanity. That's the wrong message, honestly. There are people that fucked up out there that freak out.
I know this all too well. But we're not going to get personal until next year when the podcast changes its format and I'll start speaking on personal matters.
And he'll have a higher voice.
I will have my snarky radio voice. People love my snarky radio.
That'll be a higher voice. No. Hi, this is McJeffrey. Just wanted to say hi to everybody. Welcome to my podcast. Yes.
Well, it is kind of... I have an inflection like the McJeffrey inflection, as opposed to the Jeff inflection, which is generally what everyone's been getting this year. But I will probably be more McJeffrey mode.
Can you give me a little taste of what you're going to sound like?
What do you want to hear?
I don't know.
Sound like this?
Say Day Dicker Do getting in a perch Padusa has a banana pat, but who they're laughing.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't even want to know.
Speak English, man.
I don't even know what you are saying, but it's stupid. And
don't fucking say it's stupid. How dare you? This is my house. You in Lilyland now, sucker.
Is that why it smells? Boom!
It smells like pot roast and vanilla candles.
Which one are you eating?
Vanilla candle, I love it. It's delicious.
Okay, so it's going to be more kind of that, where I kind of like draw the words a little bit more.
Draw the words just a little bit more, without sounding really douchebaggy.
No, it's sometimes will be douchebaggy. It depends.
Can I poke fun at it?
You can do whatever the hell you want.
I poke funs.
Okay.
All right.
A little side note, I did see Star Wars The Force Awakens. Lily hasn't, so I can't spoil anything.
But tell me some stuff. I still want to watch the movies over again before I go watch it.
Must ya? You can watch the...
I haven't watched them since I was a kid.
Well, the original trilogy is fine. Why do you have to subject yourself to the prequels?
I'm not going to.
You said the movies.
Yeah, but not the fucking prequels. Are you kidding me? I watched those when I was growing up. Like, our age difference, okay.
Yeah, that's where, right there. Like, right now I was growing, when I was a baby in a bassinet, I saw Phantom Menace.
9 through 13 is when they were coming out, and I know that you were an adult.
1999 Phantom Menace, and I remember being very excited about that movie, and then within 5 minutes, it's like, oh, something's terribly wrong. Something's wrong. I'm like, oh no, it's still wrong. It's not getting better. No, it's terrible. It's terrible. So long, childhood. You're out of here.
As a kid, I enjoyed them.
Of course.
Because it was part of my childhood.
There's a whole generation that prefers those ones. They're dumb.
That's your individual opinion.
I have a podcast, so my opinion is stronger.
Did you just call yourself God?
No, yes. So I saw it. You know what? I don't even want to... You know what? Tell you what. Next week with Rob, because I know he has tons of opinions on it. I'll get more into depth with Rob. But I don't even want to tell Lily if I liked it or not.
Why?
Because I don't want to deter you from... I'm
still going to watch it regardless of your opinion.
All right. It was,
I do what I want.
It was okay. It was all right.
Okay, I just want an honest opinion, Jeffrey. Don't lie to me.
Okay. I'm just telling you right now, it feels very familiar. It feels like it was very much catered to fans.
Oh, so like the Jurassic Park, but less cheesy.
Oh, I don't know if I go that far. Well, less cheesy than, say, Phantom Menace? Yes. But you watch New Hope, which was the 4th/1st film, technically the one that came out in 1977, and it's like, this film feels eerily familiar. There are so many beats taken from that movie that are in this movie that if you didn't know better, you would swore it was a very, very poor remake. It's like, it feels like it's the kind of remake you would make if you were taking a book source and completely well, that's nothing like the book, but there's still kind of those hints of that book. Kind of felt like that. So if you enjoyed New Hope, you will like this one less, but who knows? Maybe you'll like it. It's the dialogue. It's a lot funnier, but it's... You know what? I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, because I don't like the prequels at all, and it is better than all 3 of those films. But it's still... And call me, just call me, just nostalgic. That it doesn't hold a candle to the original trilogy. And that's all I'm going to say.
Is that... Oh, no. See, if you're trying to compare them to the original trilogy,
right,
you're going to be... Hold the fuck on.
Oh.
No. If you're trying to compare anything to its original, you already know you're going to be severely disappointed.
Sure.
So that being said, why was it
on its own merits? Here's the thing. I enjoyed it while I was watching it. But I left the theater barely thinking about it. And that's telling.
Yeah.
That means it's no better or worse than any, popcorn chomping summer film. It didn't separate itself in my mind from those films. It's fun. Hey, look at this character. Oh, this reminds me of, that's...
I heard there was a lot of humor, so it's like kind of new age humor. They always...
Yeah, no one will ever accuse George Lucas of having a great sense of humor, and that's what a lot of the prequels... The humor that were in the prequels are quite juvenile. So this definitely has the J.J. Abrams touch. If you like the new Star Trek movies, you'll probably enjoy this film. But it just feels like a product. It feels like this is the Star Wars machine. And it's a fine machine. It runs very well.
A cash in.
It's not blatant cash in as the Lucas ones. But it's obviously, this movie could have been about a guy sitting on a toilet for 20 minutes. But if you call it Star Wars, it was going to make money. I want to see that 20-minute guy on toilet movie, by the way, called Star Wars. I'm going to make it. You want to film it?
You know what? I will. I would be happy to.
Excellent. I'm going to get you some Taco Bell. We'll get right to work. All right. I will be intrigued to hear your opinions off the podcast because we'll see you the second week of January for the new show.
Oh, fuck, what? Oh, hold on one second.
What?
I'll be right back.
Where's she going? We're recording.
I know. Continue. There's this new movie, actually, I wanted to get your opinion on.
Okay. While we're recording. Okay.
Yep. I don't know.
This may be our longest podcast ever.
Well, sorry about that.
No, I'm saying...
I didn't realize you hated me.
No, it's usually we have the shortest ones. So it's fine. This is a good swan song.
There is a new movie coming out, and it is a stop motion, and it's supposed to be really beautiful.
Oh.
It's called Anomalisa.
Anomalisa.
It's coming out December 30th, 2015 in select theaters, and then it'll be out in January. And it's all about the human condition, but it's just so beautifully done. Like, it almost doesn't feel like it's stop motion. So let's see.
I'm intrigued.
So I'm going to show you this off air, and afterwards we can discuss that because I think that you would like it, and I would like to know your opinion.
Okay. I look forward to seeing that image. All right, so I'm about to show you an image.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I didn't realize that was the side of you. Jeez.
Oh, you
look great in heels.
So, I have nothing to say about that. All right, hold on. Okay. I will show you the poster. I could read the description, but I think I want you to walk in this one just a little bit blind. We are about to watch
4 little girls.
What will they do? We'll find out.
4 little girls.
Actually, they won't do much, sadly. But we'll get into that when we come back.
4 lovely children. Today could have been Spelman graduates, Harvard graduates, could have been doing things in their community, could have been wonderful doctors, lawyers, or just plain hard-working people. But human beings.
The bad news is 4 innocent babies were killed. The good news is we were able to transform a crucifixion into a resurrection. New life, new hope, new energy, and more determination.
And we have returned. We have finished the Spike Lee documentary 4 Little Girls from 1997 that is about the Birmingham church bombing in 1962 that claimed the lives of, as the title says, 4 little girls. It takes place in Alabama, hence Birmingham, during a time of mass segregation, civil rights movement, and obviously not equality for all. And the bombing of the church was a form of hate, terrorism, what have you. And the deaths ultimately, if any good came out of it, it kind of put a true face on the struggle for a lot of people who were kind of the outside looking in, who now kind of like now had incentive to care, because what's more innocent than a child? So suddenly, white America steps up and say, "Hey, whatever you're doing, stop that." And well, maybe not that simple, but it was a movement that led to better times ahead. Obviously, not easily, kicking and screaming, so you will. But whenever I see stuff like this, I'm always, you want to think it was that long ago, but it really, really wasn't. I speak to my own mother, who remembers this stuff pretty clearly happening. Fortunately, she wasn't living in the South. My father, however, grew up in Mississippi, so he has probably even a better perspective of what went down during that time. So the movie, for me, I was unfamiliar with the church bombings going into the film. I was a fan, still am a fan of Spike Lee as a filmmaker. Never seen him do a documentary, have seen a couple since. And I was completely unnerved, which is surprising because, you kind of expect to be. But it's still just what was the use? It didn't. Why? I can't. I guess I'll never be able to fully understand racism in a sense where by bombing the church, you've done nothing but just destroyed something that's just going to get built. And if anything, if you look at it from their point of view, you're just gonna just give sympathy to the other side. But that's terrorism in a nutshell, really.
That's something that we're struggling with today is whether something that is, if it's done in the United States or in home, is it still terrorism? Yes, It absolutely is terrorism, but we don't label it as such. But now, with all of the recent unfortunate events, it's now becoming more drastic. Measures are being taken, precautions are even more schools, obviously, like LA is much more aware because of what just happened while we were down there, which was really interesting.
Yeah, we a couple weeks ago we were in LA and your mom would called. Like, was she totally freaked out?
She was freaked out. She knew I wasn't near there, but it doesn't matter. I'm her baby girl. If I was 100 miles actually, we were probably a little bit farther.
We were geographically closer than she was.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we were far away from what happened. Was that San Bernardino?
Yeah, everybody called me. Kanan called me. My mom called me.
Nobody called me.
I would have called you.
What would you have called me? Late for dinner?
Never.
But, all right. But with all documentaries, it's sometimes you're always going to get a perspective, and you're going to get information, and information's always good. But sometimes to set yourself apart, it's in the telling. And Lily, though appreciated the information brought before her, was not... Entertain's the wrong word, because this is...
Don't speak for me.
Okay, well...
You know I work today. I have no patience for anything. I would rather be out shopping right now.
Than watching documentaries of 4 little girls getting
Absolutely.
murdered? What?
Now I have to go to work with this, so fuck you.
So... I just want to speak in documentaries as a whole. As a deep, dark hole. You've seen many documentaries.
Yeah. Every single day I watch a documentary or two.
So, in the telling of a good documentary, what for you, what do you look for?
Oh, it's based on the information.
Okay.
How old the information is.
Okay.
Who's telling the story. It's not so much whether it's just like aesthetics. It's...
Because this one is essentially a talking head documentary where It's.
I think that's what really got
it
me.
lacks in the flourish, but it's you're more basic. It's in the telling. There's no real narrative. You hear Spike Lee a couple times, just when he's like kind of addressing one of the subjects, but there's no narrative. Which that's a lot of times in those documentaries, there's narrative and non-narrative. Like a Michael Moore, tons of narrative. You hear his voice. You're reminded he's. But documentaries like this, and like a lot of stuff you'll see like on, say, PBS, it's you let the subjects speak, tell the story, so to speak.
Which is great. And honestly, if it wasn't for me having to go to work today, I probably would have more patience for it. No, don't laugh at that. I mean, that's absolutely a factor of why I didn't like it.
Okay.
But that's only a temporary thing. But, I mean, you asked me and then you interrupted, so quit that shit. I'm sorry. It's one of those days, guys. You're going to have to forgive me. I am super on edge. And now I'm even more on edge because of what he put on my shoulders for watching this. Yes, it reminded me of the horrible things in this world. Mm-hmm. It also reminded me of how we can unite as a culture. Unfortunately, and unfortunately, it has to be under extreme circumstances instead of just like... I watched a few documentaries about this subject in particular and about the bus burnings, and from viewer perspectives, sure. Also from white perspectives. And at the end of the day, it's all horrible, but it's all still relevant. Mm-hmm. And you see this stuff. I mean, you might not see buses burning, which actually you probably would in some parts of the United States, or even the world, not just the United States. Now we're becoming a world culture, not so much.
Racism is still clearly a thing.
In the West Coast, East Coast, or any of established cities, we think we are more progressive, but we are only aesthetically progressive. And
we're more subtle. I mean, there's that. I mean, racism, I think they compartmentalize differently a racist, whereas, where it was the social norm to just be completely out. You could just put on my racism shirt and everyone knows I'm racist. I don't care. Now it's taboo. Yeah.
And yet it's not, depending where you are.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. I'm sorry, go ahead.
There's different forms of it. I mean,
sure.
Culturalism, racism. I see specifically racism in not just white versus black, but because we live in Sacramento, for instance, we live in a place that's kind of a melting pot, which is supposed to be the United States, but mm-hmm. not so much. And so you don't see it as much. You see stereotypes, but like when I lived in Hoopa, which I've told you before, not to put everyone on blast that lives in Hoopa, not that anyone's going to be... I'm sure everybody is a fan of you in Hoopa, but sorry guys, y'all are fucking racist. I lived there, I went to your high school. You guys hate anyone that's not of your culture, and that's absolutely wrong.
I see it more in my personal life, and I mean, it's all intolerance. But it's funny, and when you see it, it's like you see it, it's right in front of you. It's like, wow, that's in my workplace, and I'm obviously not going to name names. Not so much racism, but homophobia totally runs rampant when they just start using just derogatory terms towards a person's sexuality as a way of ridicule, and there's joking, like calling each other, faggots or what have you, but it's completely and utterly unnerving. I don't know why I'm grown. Maybe it's because I've been hanging around with a lot of good people and I don't have to deal with this personally. But now when you're in positions, may they be people you live with or people you work with, and you realize, oh, not everybody thinks the way I do. And
no, there are so many factors of why if someone thinks the way they think, obviously. But what sometimes perplexes me is you see someone and you're like, were you born that way? I mean, that's a lot of evil.
I love it, I think.
And evil is the wrong word, but it's a lot of hatred. And it's like, that takes lifetimes, multiple lifetimes to accrue that much hatred.
Oh, sure. And it's, it's probably passed on in some way, shape, or form. I have a couple of instances where I used to be a phone operator. And sometimes sometimes people would call operator by accident, and you can kind of like hear their conversations, or it's like, you know, whatever. And I'd be bored. I'm probably sure it's breaking so many FCC laws. It's not even funny. I remember one call, like it was like yesterday, where it was clearly a car full of, I assume, white guys, like driving to some club, and you just hear, "No, let's don't go here. There's too many niggers." And I just realized, wow. And it was like, it was LA. It was Los Angeles. And it's like, it's when you're, it sounds like this is in a mixed crowd. This guy would have never said it, but with his pack of wolves, so to speak, it's such, it just rolled off the tongue. And that word, which, it's funny, I just said it, and it felt weird saying it, because I don't. But I was just wanted to use it in context. My father grew up in Mississippi, and when I was in junior high, I went to visit my grandparents there. And, you know, it's different. It was 1989, so, you know, obviously much, you know, about 20 plus years after, you know, civil rights movement, quote unquote, you know, fixed things. But it was interesting. I didn't see any like violence, but it was still there. They dropped the N-word like anyone would drop any word, and it's not with malice. They would just say he's a good N-word. He was like, you know, in compliments of people. And as a kid, I didn't really think much of it. And until like later, not that much later, and I realized, wow, it is there. Well, maybe I'm getting off the subject.
Not really.
But,
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it is there. I think it's just, it's hard. I don't know. It's concealed better, but I don't think it's truly goes away because people fear what they don't understand. The end of the day, and certainly with the, you know, stuff going on with the, you know these attacks, you know, suddenly all Muslims should be, you know, Donald Trump's words, barred from entering this country, and that's just ignorant. And the scary part is how many people support him, because fear may get that man elected. And that's a sad fact. But I'm going to get off my soapbox right now.
No, I think most people have your concerns, including myself.
It stopped being funny months ago with the whole Donald Trump thing. It really just...
Right. The more we talked about it, the more popularized he got. But, yeah, he's definitely not the point. I don't want to talk about an Oompa Loompa with a fucking bad toupee.
Doopity-doo.
Yeah.
Indeed. But so as far as the documentary, and so it's a subject you probably wanted to see something lighter, and I apologize. Maybe it was a bad time.
It was. I told you before you even put it. It's a sad one. Oh, fuck you, Jeffrey. Not really happy with that.
Well, you got to pick.
I deal with this every single day. I have political conversations at work. It's just constant, so I might as well just get on with it. But and it's all right. It's just what scares me more. It's not so much. I don't know if it's a fear or just a disconcern, but either way, it's probably like a subliminal fear. Sure. It's more of people that withhold all of their feelings and then do something drastic, like the shooting in San Bernardino. Mm-hmm. That family didn't even know that he had become that.
Yeah, and you know, and people always, and I used to be the person who would jump on the, you know, blame the parents. But it's like it's a two-way street with the parents. Where should they have known? Did they, you know?
Are we so disconnected that you don't even understand your own family members, or is it that much of a secret to them? But like I said, it's those people that hide how much of prejudices, you know, that they have for other people, intolerance, and that's ultimately. Because of that fear, it builds up inside of them, something drastic will happen, and it's going to happen again and again and again if people aren't educated. And it goes back to the case with the 4 little girls. The biggest thing that we're pushing in that documentary was how ill-educated that culture was, and how blacks didn't have books. They couldn't afford them, and so they would have all these, white folk bring it in, and then other people, they would bond together and then create the Freedom Riders.
Sure. Absolutely.
It's just pushing the education on others. And if we don't educate ourselves to educate the children, and it's just going to keep happening. That's why this is an awesome documentary, and I think it actually should be shown in schools. Not in the morning. But I think it should be shown at schools.
I mean, a more modern take on this similar subject. Spike Lee made a 4-part monster documentary called "When the Levees Broke," which was about Hurricane Katrina and what happened in New Orleans, and it is probably it's exceptionally long, but I got through the whole thing in one long night. He's definitely a guy who, Spike Lee, and this is the first Spike Lee film we have watched thus far, and there will be more. And a through line through a lot of his films is generally racism, and how people react and how people act. And it's not like Whitey's the villain necessarily. Sometimes it's racism upon your own. Obviously, that's not the case with this film, but it's a subject that he's come across or has addressed many, many times. And so he was probably the right person to take this documentary on, because it wasn't even that heavy-handed. There are points where, he actually interviews George Wallace, and this was less than a year before his passing. George Wallace was the governor of Alabama, who infamous speech, "Segregation today, tomorrow, and forever," is seen as a symbol of intolerance. He softened a bit when he got older.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
There's a point, and I think for a lot of people with this documentary, kind of the point that really sears in a lot of memories is, he does the thing. It's almost like it's a variation of the "I'm not racism, I have a black friend." Sorry, I'm not gay, I have gay friends.
Right. I laughed a little bit and vomited in my mouth a little bit when I heard that. I'm like, it's so stereotypical. I honestly can't believe it's coming out of his mouth. And then I realize the most genuine people don't say that. That's usually because they have a lot of compensating to do for themselves, their own shortcomings. And so it's like, yes, I have a black friend. And you could see his eyes. His black friend rolled his eyes, but he came over anyways because he can tell that he's a genuine person now, or at least in his delusional state of, 90-something?
I actually, 97. I'm sure the film was probably made in 95, 96. I would later learn that man was actually his nurse. So he couldn't live without him, probably literally couldn't live without him. But yeah, George Wallace is obviously somewhat senile at this point, because he brings him out 2 times just to kind of put an exclamation point on, "I'm not racist anymore." And he just softened, I guess.
No,
but he was portrayed.
That's what it was.
He was portrayed.
At the end of the day, he had to meet God, and he was an extremely religious man.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, his morals, he knew in his gut that it was wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting how they stated, if you're just 2 of you in a room with him, he's one of the nicest personal fellows you know. But as soon as the cameras came on, that's when the fire horse, as they put it, would buckle and run rampant. Another side thing that I completely forgot about, which is totally kind of really separate, but it realizes how a person's life later may affect the way you view things that have already been made. Bill Cosby shows up in this documentary.
Oh yeah, that was a little shocking. I'm like, hello, we're supposed to take you seriously?
But Bill Cosby,
at the time, he was
and to
America's
his credit,
father.
was one of the he was on the forefront of the civil rights movement. that regard, he did a lot of good things for black people. But that does not excuse him for the things he's been accused of more recently, which is essentially the rape of many women. But I just realized watching this, he only has really one scene in this film. It's 30 seconds where he kind of makes a point. But I realized, is Bill Cosby going to just take me out of everything that I see if he pops up? Because I'm automatically, it's like, oh, Bill Cosby. Why? You feel bad. It's like, I don't know if I could ever watch I haven't watched the Cosby Show since. I don't know if I could. I loved Bill Cosby himself as stand-up. I loved it. I don't know if I could watch it, and I will never enjoy it as much as I did before.
Well, it's because there's an innocence to everything that he did, and it's no longer there. He's this raunchy human being. I don't know if there's ever been a bigger fall from grace for anybody in, we'll just say the entertainment industry than Bill Cosby, because the man he was like everybody's father. He was beloved. And he did so many good things, but he also did that. And sorry, that's just, unexcusable. And it will mar him forever. They could edit him out of this documentary. It would harm it. But that's nor here nor there. So we ended your year on a downer. I apologize. But you got to pick the movies next year, so you got no one to blame but yourself. Really?
Yeah.
Why is that? I didn't pick this movie.
No, I'm saying for the new year. The 10 movies you selected are movies you selected. Or the next, when we did the draft, the next preference.
Yeah, but some of them were really low on the list. So
No, Lily. It was a list of 50 films. I will tell you right now, your lowest pick, I think, was your 24th pick.
Yeah.
So not even the bottom half. So these are first half movie selections. So this... What's on your hand?
Blood.
What did you do?
I have no idea.
She cut herself. She brought violence into the room upon herself. So so the format will be different, where we will actually be watching the movie before we even podcast, and then we will podcast, and there will be a mixture of speaking on the film and maybe themes, and then I'm gonna maybe we'll just talk about what the hell's going on. It'll be fun.
What's going on?
What's going on? So, since we went long with the first half, I think we can wrap it up with this half. I think we did this film justice. 4 Little Girls. And I was telling Lily, Selma, which is a film based on the Selma marches of Martin Luther King, which were ultimately the results of what happens in this film. It would make a good companion piece, and you should see it if you haven't. Lily, it's really good. Very powerful stuff.
I will.
But maybe later in the day. Maybe later.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Okay.
All right. Music provided by Austin Oz Graham. You can hear more by...
Whoa.
What?
Austin
Oz Graham.
That's amazing.
Let me tell you, he is amazing. And he is providing new theme music for the new year, so we're going to look forward to hearing that.
Yay, go my little graham cracker.
You can hear more by going to his SoundCloud, which is where we will actually also be next year. We will no longer be a YouTube exclusive show. We are going to SoundCloud. Podcast City.
Boom.
To Dow.
Excellent.
It'll be a good time had by all. Austin Oz Graham, you can hear more on SoundCloud, his YouTube, or his Facebook page. Just go to Austin Oz Graham. That is Austin like the city, Oz like the wizard, and Graham like the aforementioned cracker. Special shout out goes to Engineer Travis, without whom you would not be hearing this podcast. We will leave you with some music. Lily, do you have a song in mind? Because starting next year, I'm picking the music, so this is your last chance to pick a song.
All right, I keep hearing it on the radio. How about Jenny from Nothing More?
We will be playing Jenny from Nothing More. And until next time, we do bid you adieu.
Folding of the hands left you weak, left you hungry. When the supply you still demand, you're beginning to drag the ones you love down. Will this phase ever end? 1,000 arms to hold you, but you won't reach for any hands. 'Cause I don't feel like I'm getting